Good morning, welcome back to 7.7, solving quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. Let's begin. So the quadratic formula is our final formula that we are going to use this year. And it might be the most popular one that students would like to use. The quadratic formula, the purpose of it is to find the roots or x-intercepts when you have a standard equation of the quadratic, equation, okay? And you can use the quadratic formula at any time. Like for any quadratic equation, you could use the quadratic formula, but it's most often used when equations are difficult to factor. For example, if you had something like x squared minus 4x plus 7, you can't factor that, right? There's no two numbers that add to 4 and multiply to 7. So in this case, the quadratic formula is going to help you find those x-intercepts if they exist at all, okay? So let's take a look at the example, or the formula I should say, is x equals negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac, that's all the square root, divided by 2a. So it looks daunting at first, but once you just plug the numbers in, your calculator will do most of the work. So let's take a moment and try it, okay? So example 1 says solve the following equation. 6x squared minus 3 equals 7x. The first thing I want to do is I want to write down the quadratic equation so we have it. X equals negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Okay? So the first thing we have to do is we have to get the equation into standard form. So we've got to bring the 7x to the other side. So if we minus 7x from both sides, we've got 6x squared plus minus 7x minus 3 equals 0. Now, let's just remind ourselves what our numbers are, right? In our equation, our standard form equation, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So 6 here is going to be our a, our b is negative 7, and our c is negative 3. So I'll give you a moment to make sure you're caught up here, and then we'll plug the numbers into the equation. All right, let's give it a try. So this is going to become x equals b, well, negative, the formula says negative b, so we plugged in a negative 7 for b, plus or minus b squared minus 4, a is 6, and c is negative 3. This is square root divided by 2 times a, which is 6. Okay? All right, let's start to work this out. Everybody's got it. Negative 7, negative 1 times negative 7 is going to be positive 7, so x equals 7. Plus or minus, in here we've got 7 squared, negative 7 squared is 49. negative 4 times 6 times negative 3 is 72, positive 72. 2 times 6 is 12. Okay, so now we've got 7 plus or minus the square root of 49 plus 72 divided by 12. All right, 49 plus 72 is 121, and the square root of 121 is 11. So I went 49 plus 72. I'm running out of room, so I'm just going to combine these steps. 49 plus 72 is 121, and the square root of 121 is 11. So now I have 7 plus or minus 11 over 12. At this point, we have to solve for both. We have to solve for 7 plus 11 divided by 12 and 7 minus 11 divided by 12. So 7x equals 7 plus 11 divided by 12, and I'll do the one in blue, 7 minus 11 divided by 12, because we have a plus 11 and a negative 11. 7 plus 11 is 18. 18 divided by 12 we could reduce to 3 over 2. 7 minus 11 is negative 4. Negative 4 over 12 becomes negative 1 over 3. And those are our answers. Your answers are right here. X equals 3 over 2, and x equals negative 1 over 3. And now you've found the x-intercepts of this equation. Okay? So while you're writing it down, I'll just talk through the steps once more. We got the equation to standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c. We subbed our a, b, and c values into our quadratic formula. We simplified it down until we got to 7 plus 11 over 12 and 7 minus 11 over 12. We solved both of those, and we got our answers. Okay? Let's try another one. Okay? I'm just going to copy this equation. Try anyways. It's probably not going to work. Okay. 2x squared plus 8x minus 5. Okay, so I'll write down the equation for you. I'd like you to try this one on your own first. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Okay, so here your a is 2, your b is 8, and your c is negative 5. So take a few minutes here, plug those values into your quadratic formula, and see what you come up with. I'm going to start working this out as well. This one's not going to work out as nicely as the last one. You'll see why in a minute. X equals negative 8 plus or minus 8 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 5. Divided by 2 times 2. $64. 4 times 2 times 5 is 40. Over 4. So hopefully you got to this point. We've got -8 plus or minus the square root of 64 plus 40 over 4. We add 64 and 40, and we get 104 over 4. Now, at this point, 104 is not a perfect square, right? So that presents a bit more of an issue. Because we're just looking for the x-intercepts, we will take the square root of 104, which is 10.198. Why don't we simplify that to 10.2? So now I've got x equals -8 plus or minus 10.2 over 4. Now I can solve both of these individually. -8 plus 10.2 over 4, and x equals -8 minus 10.2 over 4. For the first one, you got an x value of 0.55, approximately, of course. And then for the second one, -8 minus 10.2 divided by 4 is x equals -4.55. So, obviously it's more fun when that number under the square root is a perfect square, but if it's not, we're still able to solve it. Okay? Let's do one more before we end here. Solve the following equation: 2x squared minus 12x plus 16. Remember, of course, the formulas will be provided to you during the exam. Okay. Our A value is 2, our B value is -12, and our C value is 16. So we plug our numbers in. Over 2 times 2, which is going to be 4. So I'm going to try to speed up the simplifying here. This is going to be positive 12 on the outside, plus or minus 12 squared will be 144. Four times 2 times 16, 128 over 4. (144) minus 128 is 16. Plus or minus 16 over 4. Square root of 16 is, of course, 4. So now we have 12. X equals 12 plus 4 over 4. And x equals 12 minus 4 over 4. 12 plus 4 over 4 divided by 4 is going to be 4. 12 minus 4 is 8. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So your x-intercepts are 4 and 2. Okay? Now, if you're someone who doesn't like factoring trinomials, you can always use this method, okay? If the factoring trinomials, like you did in 7.4, if that's troubling for you to try to find the x-intercept, you can use the quadratic formula every time, and that'll always give you the right answer. But if you don't mind factoring, you could just come to this one when, you know, the factoring looks too difficult or unreachable. All right? So that brings us to the end of this unit. The assignment is short. It's just page 203, numbers 1 to 4. Okay. Also, on Microsoft Teams, there is and you go to the Chapter 7 folder on the Files page. There is a review PDF there. And these questions are similar questions that you'll see on the exam, okay? So you're definitely going to want to check those out. Your exam will be, what day is today? Thursday. Your exam will be the next class on Monday, okay? With a review video coming tomorrow. Thank you. Have a good day.